Well, hello there, motherfuckers, and I'm here with your Walking Dead Season 6, Episode 5 review. Last week I complained a little bit for the first time this season, saying that it was a bit uneventful. We had our Morgan origin solo story of sorts, and, everybody wanted to know what was happening with Glenn, and you could appreciate the tension that was being built. And this week, we kind of had another uneventful episode, which was a little bit disappointing. Now, there was still a lot of good to be had. We had Spencer, whose little speech to a lot of the Alexandria citizens that were trying to raid the pantry. He gave a pretty inspirational speech. It was a good speech, and I liked how, Spencer was a flawed character who blames himself for a lot of the recent events. How he's just taking responsibility. But then we seen another scene that he stole a bottle of liquor. So you can kind of see where he's walking that line. He kind of doesn't even believe what he's saying they're trying to show. But the message is out there. And it was pretty inspirational, to say the least. And that's what I love about Walking Dead. You've got all these great quotes, a lot of great quotes, that you could go back throughout the show, and you could just say, like, these quotes were pretty memorable, and that was one of them. And I think they did a good job of showing what kind of a character he is, and not being a main character, doing something to make him stick out. It's a great thing about the Walking Dead universe. You got a lot of different characters. Some of them are interesting who are not even the main characters. And they're few and far between, but Spencer kind of intrigues me, especially with that whole speech that he gave. And Maggie, we learned, is pregnant, which we kind of all suspected, kind of anyway. Now, they searched for Glenn a little bit, and then they kind of gave up on it. But Maggie took Glenn's name off the wall, crossed it off. And, the funny thing about them writing Glenn's name on the wall in the first place is that we didn't get to see anybody really react to it. Like Rick, or anyone for that matter, or Carol, who knew Glenn, especially Rick and Maggie. Maggie seemed to believe that Glenn was alive. She also mentioned that he might be dead, but I can't help but feel, but the characters are acting very bizarre, when you think about it. Very bizarrely, like, if Maggie does think to herself that there is a possibility that Glenn could be dead, I guess they're trying to show that it doesn't really surprise them in this world. They've been together for so long, but she loves Glenn. They're having a fucking baby together. And maybe she would be a little bit upset, at the possibility, at the prospect that he might be dead. I don't know, I just kind of, there was a little bit of a disconnect there for me, where I kind of had a little bit of a problem with the acting for really, like, one of the first times during this show, I had a legitimate problem with the acting. Like, if there is genuine concern for Glenn, why are they not, like, at least taking some action to do something about it? I thought it was a little bit odd, to say the fucking least. I thought that maybe they could have addressed this, in a better way. But, when Maggie went underground and you had the skeletal walkers, that was some awesome makeup, I have to say. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, there's always little things in this show that still make up for, like, the flaws. But I'm going to say this. Walking Dead is a flawed show, without a doubt. There are flaws. People like to make like this is the perfect show. I've seen a lot of critics saying the show is perfect. No, it's far from perfect. I'm a huge fan of this show, and even I have to say that sometimes this show fails. And I think when their reaction towards Glenn and the whole handling of his death, I mean, the thing is, I understand that they're trying to build tension and it's going to make it exciting. But if you're going to do that, handle it in a better way. Have the characters really react in a better way. I know they went out looking for him for a short amount of time there, but I mean, a little bit better of an explanation. How are the characters reacting to the fact that Glenn is not there? You know, I just think that they could have done a much better job handling this death or fake death or whatever it is. Now, I was discussing this with one of my friends at work, and he brought up a really good point, saying that this means that Glenn is dead because they're having a baby, and his memory will live on through the child. Well, I don't know how long they're going to wait to have this baby be born, like in TV time, but I don't know. I kind of feel a little bit that he might be alive. I'm just saying they could go through this a lot better. You know, seriously, it kind of pissed me off in a way. This episode, nothing really happened in it. Nothing really progressed. Nothing really happened. Nothing really happened that much that was really eventful. Rick kissed old what's-her-name, you know, the one that he killed the husband of. She also kind of gave some of the weaker characters in Alexandria a little bit of a pep-up speech, you know, saying that if they don't fight, that they will die. Yeah, really, that's all I could really scrape together, really, about this show. There was a lesbian kiss. Other than that, you know, the stuff really is just nothing that happened when things happened in this episode. They didn't really affect the overall story. I'm not saying that these episodes need to be as action-packed as, like, you know, the second or the third episode. Or, you know, first, second, or third episode. But I think they could do a lot better here. I think that they're kind of, after the whole Glenn death thing and after that explosive third episode, I think that they could have done a lot better to follow it up. I mean, seriously. They could do a much better job of following that up. And they're not really doing that. So anyway, guys, not really a big fan of this episode from this week. Hopefully, episode 6 kind of, you know, makes things a little bit more exciting or brings that excitement back from the previous episodes. Because, you know, this is not quite doing it. This, to me, was like a filler episode. And what they did try to accomplish in this episode wasn't done very well. So, yeah, I'm going to have to just say that this is probably the first sort of negative review that I'm giving for this season. So, you know, not every episode's going to be great in the TV series, and didn't really like it. And those are my reasons. All right.